Imagine how great life is when you get up from your 3 by 3 foot coffin room, the sun is shining, you step out onto the balcony because you're literally just a step away from the balcony. Or maybe you're having your breakfast while dropping your kids off at the pool.
总裁，欢迎回家。今天我们来看一套租了3年都没有租出去的房，房东说他感觉到很迷惑。人无语到一定地步，总裁，有时候真的想笑。
Or maybe you're trying to do a Harry Potter cosplay IRL.
我勒个兜哎，这二房东都真是个人才呀，在楼梯下面都能整个房间出来。这房间这空间钻个身都困难呐。
Welcome to China's coffin rooms, tiny rooms that scare claustrophobia herself, and where showering, eating, working, sleeping, and going to the bathroom can be done at the exact same time. And by the way, CEO, this is the nickname that they use in these videos.
总裁，欢迎回家。总裁们，这咱们就回来了。哎呀，咱们回家了以后，记得要把咱们家这个门啊给它装上。这样咱们就把这个入户门给装上了。平时呢，咱们这边呢也是一个很好的一个居居点位啊。在这边拿个大锯啊架的是不是非常不错呢？看这边就是咱的卧室啊，咱们的卧室啊高度非常好，真的好，刚好跟咱们身一半差不多。平时呢，约上咱的3、5好友啊，在这边做个露天烧烤也是非常的不错。当然了，晚上的时候可以搂着你心爱的女朋友，在这看看夕阳。只不过看夕阳的同时啊，最好让房东啊在这边加一层栏杆，要不然这边比较危险。咱们这个房子啊也是非常的适合跑酷啊，你看这一片啊过来啊，全是连着的，咱们在这个屋顶上可以肆意的奔跑。
Maybe it's like a self-deprecating way to call renters, considering that, they're looking for coffin homes. It's kind of like how when they just call you in China, everyone, if you're a girl, they call you a beautiful girl or a handsome guy wherever you go. I don't know. But these tiny but cheap homes are all over social media. And in fact, I think this was it exploded actually when there was a YouTuber who did a video on a girl in New York City that lives in such a tiny studio. And now that I've had my fair share of apartment hunting in New York City, and some of these do get pretty small, I still think that this is next level in China. Here's why. In some of the smaller ones, at least you can fit a couch, at least you have a kitchen, and at least sometimes you can fit furnitures in. But with these ones, yeah, you're kind of working with nothing. Also, they call these coffin rooms strive rentals, meaning that they're striving to achieve better. So this is like the starting point, right? It's, I guess, to make people who live here feel better at the moment. But again, at the same time, which I'll get into this, a lot of them are talking about making jokes, trying to make the situation lighter, saying that there isn't even any room for you to hang yourself, so I guess you just have to keep going. Yeah. Anyways, people are working hard to make it in the big cities, especially prominent in tier 1 cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. This man here, he actually documented his first day moving into the coffin room and the journey from there. He moved in here, he paid 280 yuan. It's got newspapers on the walls instead of painting. I don't know why, maybe to cover up for the old stains. But there isn't even a bed, it's just a wooden platform. And 280 yuan is 40 USD equivalent. A week later in this video, it's been cleaned up a little bit, he's settled in. And this one here is funny.
又是一套对身材非常有要求的房子啊，极窄的入户门，给大家量一下啊，你看不到50公分。
So this is the situation where if you're over 150 pounds, you can't fit through the door. Anybody under 150 pounds, you have to crab walk to get from the bed to the bathroom. Sometimes it also happens to be in the same room, a lot of times actually.
房间就这么大，洗手间在哪儿呢？洗手间要下2个阶梯啊，这房子设计的真的没有2斤的脑血栓设计不出来这样的户型啊。下来以后，你看洗衣机、马桶、电器一应俱全啊。就是这个房间没有地方放衣柜，把衣柜放出来这里，在这洗澡的时候，就直接就把衣服洗了啊。
The comments are like, there's no room to hang yourself to die. Isn't this just adding a bed to the bathroom? Why not just dig a hole in the bed and connect the pipe to the toilet? You don't even need to go down, right? It certainly feels safe. The thief might mistake this for the electrical room. No wonder the Little John home improvement videos, they all started from China, right? The It's literally drawing from real life inspirations. Now, you might be wondering, like, is there actually anybody who rents these? Yeah, well, in 2024, there's a coffin room videos for, basically they post these on Douyin, right? Because everybody uses Douyin. It's for 300 yuan, and it got taken on the same day that video was published. Yeah. Now, for the context, some of these videos I show you come from mostly large cities like Shanghai or Beijing. And these videos are not of the working class people in the city, right? They're not renting tiny homes. They're usually for migrant workers, younger people, students, singles who come from the countryside, or maybe you're just trying to make it in the big city. It's a starting point for them to save money. Or if you're working a job, like if you're like an Uber driver, delivery driver, that sort of thing.
总裁，欢迎回家，是不是很方便？总裁，这您受得了吗？总裁，我们顺利进入我们的客厅了。房东也是很贴心，给我们配备了一个未成年的小冰箱，房东配备的一个卧室啊，南北结合。
欢迎回家。今天咱们又看一个邪门的房子，看就这个线条啊，不得不说啊，上海的房东们设计啊，真的是脑洞大开。然后一进来啊，就是咱们的超大的一个厨房间。平常啊，咱们在这里可以用电磁炉紧急做饭，只不过喜欢煎勺的总裁们就是不是非常的喜欢啊。平常咱们做饭只能这样做，或者投身到这个锅里边才能做饭啊。然后下面是咱们房东给咱们精心设计的一个6开门的大衣柜，然后这边是咱们的一个会客厅啊。经常喊上你的3、5好友啊，在这边吃着火锅，唱着歌，想想是不是也是美滋滋？然后里面这边啊是通往咱们卧室的一个门啊，这个门差不多有个1000毫米高啊，就是高于1000毫米的这个总裁啊，得像咱们这样匍匐前进。然后这个房子真正向我诠释了叫做出击侠财通人，步行数十步啊，豁然开朗啊！看咱们这边就是一个床铺啊，平常晚上就躺在这里面睡觉。
Now, before I continue, I just want to let you know about a great initiative that I'm involved in, which is called Escape the Firewall. Now, a few months back, I was told about this from a group of engineers in the United States. They're working to essentially let more people in China free access to outside of the firewall of censorship when they browse the internet. And so it turns out this new initiative, it allows tens of thousands of Chinese users with zero technical background, and they receive a link, they just tap it, and they're through. Now, the CCP's internet police can't stop this. And this very powerful system is expensive to run, and it actually needs everyone's support. For every $2,000 we raise, we can generate 100 links. Now, these links will give tens of thousands of people inside China uninterrupted access to overseas content for about 30 days. And so this essentially lets them breathe the air of freedom anytime that they want within that time frame. Now, I know you guys care just as much about the Chinese people just as much as I do, and the best way for me, I think, to break down the lies and the censorship of the CCP is to tell people inside the truth, and this is the best way to do so. So please donate to us if you can, and once you do, you'll actually receive a usage report, which you can see in real time how this initiative is actually helping people out in China. So thank you again, and let's get back to the coffin rooms. Now, to be fair, some of these come furnished, right? They have a bed, you get a desk, a chair, and that's pretty good. And many of them even include a faux bath. Not always, but in some of the videos at least, and you get a washing machine in some other ones. So in terms of space, yeah, you're not getting a lot of free space, like you can walk around, no space for a couch or a TV, but that's kind of a luxury at this price point. And in Shanghai, for example, these tiny coffin rooms cost as low as 300 yuan a month, which is about 40 bucks USD, to anywhere like 800 to 900 yuan a month. And obviously the size gets a little bit bigger, you have a little bit of room. But here's the catch, right? You're looking at workers who make 2,000 yuan a month here in China. So for them, this is actually the right price. And so, you know, thinking about if you're from the countryside, you go to the big city, you get your first job, you're not getting paid a lot, right? Now, in 2009, there was a Chinese TV drama called Dwelling Narrowness, and in Chinese, the title literally translates to snail shell living. Now, the TV drama explored the idea that in Shanghai at the time, 2008, 2007, the price of living was already pretty high in terms of rental, and so you had people doing essentially a co-op living. But in this case, they all lived in like the same building, multiple people lived in one tiny space, dwelling, that kind of thing. And I actually found a similar video on Douyin where this man, a father, is trying to save money to get his son married, so he lives in one of these dwellings, which is actually not too far from the Bund, so this is not like some rural area, this is literally like center of Shanghai. And so when people think of China, right, they think of Shanghai. They're like, oh, dude, it's beautiful. Modern city everywhere, everybody owns a home in China. At least that's what the CCP shells are telling you. That's not really the case.
你在这里住了几年了，叔叔？
我住4年，
住了4年，你觉得怎么样？还可以吧？
这你不感觉什么隔夜呢？这不就来往你，但肯定不会是你住的。
哦，再和一个说，
跟早都是他对的。日本是
放不下，还可以。你看楼上放那么多东西，楼下是床，这个小房子，对的。里面没有厕所，你们上卫生间在哪上呢？
我们的嘛。
This video here, the mother is taking care of her twins in an 800 yuan a month rental. So that's about $100 something a month, right? And the kitchen is outside. The rooms have cracks on the ceilings and the walls. They're effectively paying like $100 something in USD to live there, which, speaking of the amount of things that you get for that money, yeah, it's a lot. But there's no way you can find anything in that price within, let's say, the 5 boroughs of New York City for $100, right? Like, that's impossible. And that's what the CCP shells are using to tell you that, oh, China's living condition is so much better. Except the problem is that Chinese people in China don't use the USD. So for them, 800 yuan is the same as us spending $800. And if you're asking for $800, I'm sure you can find something like a room, maybe not a studio, that gets you much bigger spaces, at least, walls without cracks on them. But then again, New York City has some shady landlords, but in general speaking, 800 here, you can get something much bigger and much better, right? And so when we talk about the discrepancy in terms of the living condition, yeah, these things, they often get memed a lot, like a coffin room. It's not a mainstream thing, right? But it is a phenomenon in the big cities in China. And that's what some people have to get through. And so it's pretty bizarre to see, but also at the same time, pretty unique to China. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And like I said, make sure to subscribe to our new channels, David on China and David Zhang 360, where we'll continue to discuss all things related to China and much, much more. So thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.